Hi there guys. Right, this video you may find distressing. Okay, so I'm gonna put that out there now because what I'm going to talk about in this video is very personal. It's something that happened to me growing up, and many other people will have experienced something like this. The aim of this is to highlight how talking about it can actually help. So, I was born in 1988. I was born in Gloucestershire. I was raised by mother and father. Life was very tough. I obviously don't remember very much about my first 3 years or so. But at the age of 3 years old, I was helping my father change back brakes on a PA Cresta. That was the car we had at the time. We've always had classic cars. My family, a little bit of background, my family are very 1950s orientated, always have been. And I was brought up in that manner. In 1991, along came a younger sister, and we lived in various places in Gloucestershire, mostly in Gloucester. Now, the turning point really was, from what I can remember, the turning point was I was about 4 years old. Yeah, about 4 years old, and we'd gone to see some friends, and kids being kids, I was mucking about. Well, apparently, I was mucking about. I don't know full ins and outs. I was only 4 years old at the time. And my father, for want of a better word, he brought the tailgate down on my head. I've still got the scar to prove it, right here. And I was taken down the hospital. All good. And it was one and only time the hospital got social services involved, wondering about child abuse. As it happened that time, it wasn't. It was purely a case of, from what I can remember of it, yes, I was probably mucking about. To what extent, I don't know. I walked onto the road or onto the pavement beside my father. I suppose wanting to be close to him. At the end of the day, despite everything else that went on, he, growing up as a child, he was, my male role model. He was my father. I knew no different. And obviously, he brought the tailgate down. My head was in the way. He hadn't quite realised where I was. So it happened. But a few months later, I think it was a few months later. I can't remember exact dates. Like I said, I was about 4. In the September of '92. So I was 4 at the time. I was 4.5 exactly, actually. It was me mother and father's wedding. Yeah, he had this god awful colour drape suit he wore, salmon pink. But it was what he wanted, you know. Of course, I was in the same bloody, I was in the same colour suit. Me being a 4-year-old, it'd been raining that day. Me being a 4-year-old, I leans up against a wall, little low wall, only I don't know, it's probably about up to the small of my back at the time. It was it was a tiny wall. You know, I was only a little nipper at the time myself, like, and when of course when I come away, I had a lovely green slime mark across the jacket. Wallop. Of course, I'd start crying. Yeah, 4-year-old, I would, clout round the ear roll and that. Of course, I get another wallop for that. You're gonna start crying. I'll give you something to cry about. Growing up as a child, I could never do right. No matter how hard I tried to do something, if I didn't get it right the first time, I was useless. I was worthless. I get beaten. Most of the time, it was done with a hand. You know, to a certain extent, I don't mind. I haven't got a problem with being physically chastised. Slap backside. That sort of thing. Never done me any harm, really. It was more the psychological side of it. Even if, I mean, my sister, she was the blue-eyed girl, never do no wrong. I'd always get the beating for whatever happened. And as she got older, yes, okay, she did get a share of beatings and what have you, but it was never anywhere near to the extent of the beatings that I got. I mean, at one point, he took a piece of 2 before round me backside, threatened me with a hammer on numerous occasions. I'll always remember when I was in junior school, and I used to play up somewhat chronic. I couldn't have a male teacher because I was so traumatised by what went on at home. Looking back at it, I didn't know why then. I just didn't like male teachers. Just the way it was as far as I was concerned. I was scared witless of them. And they sussed out why, and fair play to the school. They, after first male teacher, they kind of helped me a bit. My second male teacher, he was all right. He turned out to be quite nice. That's why they left me in his class, because they knew that he wasn't stern, strict, old school type. He was quite young. I suppose he was in his 30s, I suppose, at the time. I could be wrong there. And what have you. But then when it came to move up the year and go into another teacher, it was, they moved me, so I was in with a female teacher that could keep control of me, because I was unruly. But I was unruly because of what was going on at home. That's the long and short of it, really. And they saw that. I used to have psychologists come in, and I had one psychologist, a guy called Abel Rose, his name was, and he was like, "Oh, you got a reading ability, and this, that, and the other, and you got maths ability of that of a 14-year-old." Okay, I had a bit of dyslexia, but I could still read. My dyslexia was minimal. But he was saying that, I had the reading ability and maths ability of someone a lot older. Well, I was like, yeah, get stuffed. Because I believed everything that my father had said to me. And he had drummed it into me time and time again. The school, I'll never forget this, the school introduced after school detentions, and you'd have a letter sent home and everything. And for lunchtime detentions, you'd also have a letter sent home. I got given these detentions, and I said to her, you can't send a letter home, you can't send a letter home. And after a while, I said, look, come on, let me do break time detentions instead. I'll, do more of them to make up, for the lunchtime ones. And when they dug into my home background, they were like, okay, and stopped sending the letters home, because they knew that if they sent a letter home, my mother or father would open it and I'd get beaten. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. I would get beaten. At the age of 10, my father threatened to kill me. Now, most parents at some point or another will say, oh, I'll bloody kill you in a minute if you don't shut up. This was actually a proper threat. And I took that as gospel, really. I took it as gospel. Social services were brought in, and I was removed from the family home and put to live with my grandparents. My grandparents raised me from the age of 10 as my foster parents. But the damage was done. I was a nightmare to behold and control because of the way I'd been treated as a child. I'd been brainwashed into believing what I was told. It was tough for my gran and gramps. Mistakes were made. Mistakes aplenty. And when things got tough, or to their toughest points, they were there for me. They did what needed to happen. They were there for me. And in 2007, I took on my granddad's name. Changed my name from my original surname to his surname. And from that point on, my gran and gramps I refer to as mum and dad. Because to me, they are my mum and dad. Situations like that can shape us. We have it drummed into us that we're no good. From a young age, we'll start believing it. I'm not against physical chastisement. I've been known with my own children to give them a smack on the bum. One short, sharp smack. It's all it needs. All that's needed. And that's only ever as a last resort. Now, I know there's going to be people that don't agree with it. And, if you don't agree with it, that's fine. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's the way to do things. Parenting it's a learning game all the time. There is a fine line, though, between chastisement and abuse. A single smack on the backside, tap on the back of the hand. To a certain extent, maybe even a clip around the ear roll. That doesn't do you any harm. But it's when it changes from being a single to multiple, with all your strength put behind it, that's when it becomes abuse physically. And the mental abuse that goes with it, it takes its toll. I hope me sharing this little bit of an insight into my childhood for the purposes of this kind of helps. I have left out big chunks because I just haven't got the time, and some of it's too harrowing to discuss. But if you've experienced something similar or worse than this, then maybe, just maybe, what you need is someone to talk to about it. It may feel like you're digging it all up, but without digging it up, you can't lay it to rest properly. And that's what these videos are all about. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave comments. Please, nothing nasty. We're not here for nastiness. We want to create a positive area, positive vibes with these videos in a mature, manly way. Until next time, thank you.